Top of the morning to you, people. Give me just a second here. Taping up a piece of paper. That's right. I want a little tape on this piece this morning, just for a little border. There we go. Little ripped piece of 140 mixed media paper. All right, let's get rolling, and we're off. Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael. Grandkids call me Roo. That's short for Roodoodles. Great to be on the show with you this morning. Wait a minute. I just hit the wrong button. There it is. Okay. You think I've never done this before, right? Blessings. Welcome to my studio. It's a massive, massive, massive place. It is actually big enough to hold this table, which is holding up this small pad underneath me right here. Let me show you what the desk looks like. There it is this morning. Top of the morning to you. Boom. Showtime. Let me do this. I have some pads lying here that aren't even unwrapped. I'm going to unwrap them here just a little bit. And I also just threw down a piece of paper. You can see where it just ripped it off the ring. You know, so far there's only one ring of paper that I really do like, and it's these from Kilimanjaro. The wire is heavier. It cuts the paper before the paper rips the wire loose. Is that not a frustrating thing when you buy one of those little pads and you go to rip the paper off and then the coil of wire goes wah, 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 wah. I'm the guy who takes those out, puts them in one end of the vise and stretches it out with a pair of pliers and just measure them. It's not that I'm type A. I'm interested. I'm curious. Art should make us curious. So this was some B paper, I think, a mixed media B paper. Maybe not. It could have been. I'm not sure. It's 140 pound, but I started ripping the first things off and I ripped up the little ring. So I just took them all off and now I'm just taping them like this. I'm going to paint a fishing fly on this morning. I've painted several. I've got to give a couple away to a friend this week. And in the process of that, I thought I should just break down what I've been doing a little bit at a time. Went through some lobsters, went through some on Patreon, but I'm gonna paint another fishing fly and just show you how I do my flies, so that if you ever want to do one for a friend, a gift, someone who's a fly fisherman, look, they don't have to. I don't worry about painting flies that are quote professionally tied, beautiful, benchmarked flies. I know you're surprised by this, right? I love the originality of just going like, just paint a fishing fly, just paint a hook and some hair on it and a feather, and you go like, yeah, I like it. And then, sort of, I've been given mine. Some of you own mine. Thank you so much for keeping them in your home, but also for giving them as gifts and Father's Day and birthdays. But the thing about this, thank you for owning my art. I'm grateful to you. That's where that whole sentiment was going. The point is, we sometimes worry that, oh, I don't know if a fly fisherman looks at this, if he'll think it's a Wright Cahill, or if he'll think it's an Adams fly. Or I'm going like, who cares? Who cares? If he's a fly tire, he may be into it so deep that he can't see beyond his thread anyway. Or he may just do loose stuff like I tied everything. Look, my point was not to tie the most beautiful fly and hold it up at the fly meeting that night over cocktails, which I didn't go to those anyway. My deal was to say, I caught this fish and I'm having fish for dinner. So I'm a little bit more of a blacksmith in that realm. Do you know what I mean by that? It's okay to make the tool, but at some point in time, put the tool in the dirt, dig a hole, plant a flower. Speaking of flowers, boy, that was a long way to get there. Let me say hi to some of you. And let me do this. Is there a bottom of the morning? Yes, Mark Langston. There's always a bottom of the morning, and from us it's about midnight. That's the bottom of the morning. run around following a cup all day long. You know, this is, some people think, as I've painting this one time, this is a religious vessel. It must be. It has a hot liquid in it, but humans follow it around all day long. So they must think this is a religious vessel of some sort. Let me go to picture in picture. And Mark Langston, man, you're up early in Colorado. Hey, all right, so here we go. Karen Binder, thanks for being on the show. Beverly Smith with the good old star there on yours is from Greenville. Timberly Marie. Jennifer Hintz. Pat Brooks, always a pleasure to have you on the show, my creative friend. Pat and I, you know, of course, share noodle, doodle, fiddle, piddle. How many times does he say that on this show? Not today. So far, only 2. Noodle, doodle, fiddle, piddle. If you don't have the book, get the book. If you have kids or grandkids, or if you just haven't read the stories, Pat did the artwork. I wrote the stories. And you know what? I got to tell you, as any storyteller would embellish and as you would make words together, these are true stories. These are things that really happen to Carol and I when we go to art exhibits, and how I paint watercolor. It's not a how-to book, but it's an idea on what you might think as you think like an artist and paint through a book. That's kind of important. Some of the, and Pat was such a help in this. Let me just go back for some of you who are new on the show. Noodle, doodle, fiddle, piddle, third time I said it, came out of just, that's how I operate creatively. That whole string of lines, fourth time, noodle, doodle, fiddle, piddle, came from 2 guys who came from Atlanta to produce a video about creativity. And they asked me if they could shoot it here and in my shop. And I said, sure. I was flattered that they asked me to be a part of this. It was a kind of it went out to thousands of people, which I was excited about. But at the same time, they said, you have a different take on this. And I go, if I don't wake up every day and noodle something that is in the creative vein, and then doodle something that maybe ties that together, and then piddle with something and fiddle with something and make something with these tools, I feel like I might have cheated the day. And Mark Langston, you're right. I went from the top of the morning to the bottom of the morning, and I really didn't do anything creatively. Now, that may just be noodling and bringing good thoughts into my head, or reading something that inspires me, or texting friends like I do early in the morning and say, whoa, I just read this, and it just blew me out of the water. Yesterday, I fiddled around with my camera and shot some photos. I want to show you a video that I shot yesterday. I'm just going to show it to you, then I'm going to tell you the truth about it. Here it is right here. Watch this. It just rolls in right here. Let's see if I can just get it to spring up. And boom. Does it go? Oh, look at this. Come on. Seriously? Is that not a cool video? I just went right out to my garden. No, I didn't. I didn't shoot that in my garden at all. If I can get it off the page now, I'd show you what I did do with it. Let me go back to desk, and let me see if I can get rid of this picture-in-picture painting here. I don't think I can. Can I get rid of that? Wow, why did I put it up there? Now I can't get rid of it. Oh, I put it in the wrong file. So we'll just have to reformat this file here. Let's go here. Let's go here. And let's do this. Boom, there it is. Now let's make it round. Wow, this is my first day out, obviously, huh? Boop. Oh well, I don't know what I'm doing. Obviously, right? So anyway, my point is that photo, that video came from a big box store. And I'll just tell you, it was Lowe's. That's their plant department. Carol and I were there. Buying a dryer. Yes, and I sketched a picture while I was there, and the picture that I sketched was, you'll love this, the picture that I sketched was of a rooster holding up a t-shirt, and then behind him was a clothesline with some clothes, pants, and shirts hanging from it, and it said, what? People don't use clotheslines anymore? And the funny part is, it's rained the last 5 days here, and our dryer of 13 years just said, I'm done. And so we were there, and this guy was going through this, and he said, well, what do you do for a living? And I go, I try to stay alive. And And so then I asked him, hey, so he said, this is a total. I said, whoa, where's the good guy discount? And he goes, the what? I said, the good guy discount. He says, you're saying you're a good guy? I said, no, I'm saying you are. Give me a good guy discount. Works both ways. And he goes, oh, okay, I can do this and this. And what I was volleying for was, guys are going to be bringing it up my stairs and down the hallway past my office. Carol's a genius. She knows that I have to come upstairs to my studio in my office. So she puts the dirty clothes at the bottom of the stairs, and then I just have to go by and drop them in the washing. I don't fold, but I do wash and dry. And so he said, well, they'll carry it out for such and such amount. And I'm going like, seriously? They're standing right there. They just carried a heavy one in. They can take an empty one out and put it in their truck, and you guys recycle it. And he said, okay, what about a good guy discount if I waive that and I do this? And I go like, no, see, who's the good guy? All right, if you've never asked for the good guy discount, I'm just going to put it out there. Just ask. Just say, hey, now what is the good guy discount on this? And they'll say, how about 10%? How about 20%? Okay, how about 17? I love it. Come on. It's part of the conversation, the fabric of looking people in the eye and saying, he said, you're asking me to take some of my commission and give it back to you. And I go, that'd really be a good guy. Thank you. And he did. And did he get tipped later? Of course. And did he get a painting while I stood there? Yes. So my point is that have fun with people, connect with people. It'll make a difference in your life. Love it, love it, love it. I started saying hi to everybody, and then I just blew up this soggy. It's still soggy in South Georgia. Linda Schleitning, thanks for being on the show. I was telling you about Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, but these are stories. Pat did the art. I did the writings, and I'd love for you to look up the book. You can find it on Amazon right now. I do not have a single one in this house. I had three left, and I gave them away in what I thought would be a good marketing situation. That's yet to be seen, okay? Melina Phillips, thanks for being on the show. Sue Kane, all the way from South Australia. Loverly, June Jones says. I guess I'm closer still in California. No, you're farther away in California, but I'm glad you're here. Gave a copy of Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, one of my students who painted an awesome Batman painting for me as a gift. Jason, thank you so much, man. Jason, I think you're finally out of school, so a toast to Jason, Nicholas, who is finally a teacher that got out of school on the first day of summer. It's the 21st. So what is it with New York? Y'all just go all year? Might as well. I know you love to teach, man. Bob, oh my gosh, look at, folks, now you're going to believe it. It's $33 Bob from way up in Stillwater, Minnesota. Did you notice that he's moved? Yes. He's in Stillwater from the new cornfields in Stillwater, Minnesota. Keep those fishing flies coming, brother. All right, so here we go. Let me see if I can get back to my desk, and I'm going to paint a fishing fly, and then I'll see if I can enter in a, I'll see if I can get it's not going to do it for me here this morning, is it? What the heck? It's not going to do a picture-in-picture for me in the right size. Well, that's frustrating. All right, well, here's the desk. I'll come back to it in a minute. All right, so a little piece of paper, and let's get started. Linda, thanks for being on the show. James Ward, Jen Anthalzer, Cindy Wiltermood, you're quite an artist. Keep it up, my friend. I hope you know these people that you always paint. You're so good at portraits and faces. Bless their souls, or sell them their artwork, or do something with it. Dawn, welcome to the show. Lori Stanley, Handelmeyer Henderson, glad you're on. And Denise, I think I sent you a note. I hope you got it. Blessings to you. All right. So, bottom of the morning to you, Langston. There's Miss Carla, saw her go by. Heather Forbett, thanks for being on the show. Jennifer Thistle, Carol Zupp sent you a painting, I believe, yesterday. I believe it flew out. Thank you. All right, here we go. Deborah Spangler, Skeeter Powell. I'll fly away, oh Lordy, I'll fly away in the morning. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. The Happy Goodman family did that song, and they didn't really record it originally. J.C. Needles, thanks for coming in from Lake Kanasa. I don't know how you pronounce that. Here we go. Fish and fly. I've got a Kakuna pen. I've got an 05 Pentel Intergel needle tip pen. I'm going to throw out a couple small brushes. Watch this, people. I'm going to grab my big brush pile here, And I'm just going to grab a one. I'm going to grab a pretty good size, like a number 5 or 6. Here's a 6 right here. And then I'm going to reach in and I'm going to get a number 1. A number 1. You mean he has a number 1? Yeah, there's one hiding in here somewhere. Or a number 3. I use this a lot more than you think. If you want to save your money this year and buy yourself a good fun brush, buy yourself a rigger, R-I-G-G-E-R brush if you haven't yet. Buy yourself a little rigger brush, and here's why. It's great for fine lines. Here's a 3, 4, and a 1 rigger. The actual hair on this brush is this. There you go. Look at this. Can you see that? The hair on this brush, let me put the ferrules all together. You can see the length in this, and it looks like it's flared out. But when I wet this, it's a little skinnier. It's going to come down to a beautiful point. Is there another way to do flies? Yeah, you can do them with flare pens. They'll get a little bulky if you don't put the water in there just correctly. And you can also add a watercolor pencil or two. The first thing I do is what's the hook going to look like? And so people draw fishing hooks like this. You know, they go, that's really not a fishing hook. The fishing hook really has to come around and it has a bulbous end and it stops back like that a little bit. It's turned a little bit up. It's not just like a horseshoe. Okay, so don't make it just like this. That's fine if you're drawing little people's heads and you're doing architectural people, right, Jason? But that's not fine with horseshoe or with fish hooks. So, or the other thing you could do is you could just go get your box like this and you could pull it in and you could pop the lid on it. Look how old this box is. It's already yellowed. And inside here are just all kinds of hooks. And so I have hooks, I have feathers. Here's a number 4 hook. Let me just grab a little number 4 to show you what one looks like in real life. This is a little large for, this isn't too large for a trout, but most of my hooks are, little. There's a number 10. Look at the size of this little hook. Let me just see if I can get a 10 out and show you. So why do I do this? It's not because I'm a realist. Look, I didn't shoot that video of those flowers because I wanted to paint flowers that look just like that. I was just mesmerized by the beauty of that orange Rudbeckia. All right, so look at this right here. I'm going to show you this little hook. And by the way, these are all just different feathers. Some are rooster feathers, some are hackle feathers, some are little feathers that I paid a lot of money for. Here's some deer hair. There's some brown saddle hackle from chickens. See it right there, brown saddle hackle. Look how finesse these are. Just beautiful little things. This helps me when I go. So one, I started tying flies, and here is a bucktail. Yeah, no kidding. Look at that, deer hair. So you see how it's got a little wave in it? So for me to just let my lines rattle, I think you can see that even through the plastic there. So I was tying flies, but also some of your, got everything I need in this little box. There's my scissors and my spindles. And here's, this is rabbit fur. And I know because I skinned the rabbit. And yeah, I did stuff like that. But about to skin one yesterday if he eats my wife's flowers again that I just bought. Okay. So take a look at this little hook right here. Can you see this? I'm gonna zoom in on this little hook right there. This is a number 10. Oh my gosh, can't even see it, can you? Here, let me see if I can get it right here where you can see it. That's as far as I can zoom in. I'm gonna circle this. It's right there. Look at this. Look at this right here. The head of this hook leans down like this. See that? The shank comes up and goes back. It comes around, and then it's got this little acute turn right there, just a tad right there, and it comes in to the point. So don't just draw a hook like this and think, oh, that's going to be a good hook. It would work for what you're doing, but you want it to look a little more like an actual fish hook. And so if you mess it up the first time or two, don't worry about it, but bring it around and then bring it back up a little bit and put the hook in just like that. And so get into moving that. Hey, what's repetition is everything. So keep moving it around. There's a little hook. I'm going to come in with this right here. That's going to be, I'm going to leave this right here low if I can. I think that'll help you see. My hands out of the way a little bit. And I'm just going to put on some, let's put on a little water music here. We got anything? I don't have handles, but yikes, going down the bunny trail. Chris Young, good morning. Heather Kuhlman, good morning. Ricky Gilvares, thank you for being on the show this morning. Linda Schleitning, I think I said hello to you. Linda Edwards Small, Tina Marie, Dawn Sanders or Saunders. Here we go, right here. Wash. All right, this has got a little bit of a. All right, so I've got this pin. I'm going to come in and I'm going to remember the head of the was down a little bit, so I'm going to take it right here. I'm going to drop the eye of the hook down just like that. Man, I'm going to come in just a little closer. Then I'm just going to break one bar back. I'll double it up later. And I'm going to come down like this. I'm going to come around, and then I'm going to bring that hook in just like that. Shorten this one, which is fine, okay? Then I'm going to double it up just a smidge right here, but not too much. All right, and this is going to be doubled out just a little. And so that's not a bad looking little hook right there. All right, see that? Got a little break in it right here, but you'll never see it when I start to put, you guessed it, some hair follicles on it. And I'm going to do those with this, I'm going to do them with my, everybody's got one of these, I bet. I bet if you've been painting with me for a couple of years and you don't have a Pentel Intergel needle tip, hey, don't buy the rollerball things and think they're needle tip. Get needle tip. It has to say that on the package. It's going to make a difference in the bleed. It's going to make a difference in how the ink flows. Can you paint with the other? You can paint with a big pen. You can paint with a wooden stick whittled from outside. So what I do first is I put a little bit of thread right here because you have to start tying the filler in there, whether it's fur or hair or feather. You got to start having something. So for me, I'll just sort of start beefing this up, and I want the body to resemble a little bit of a bug. So I'm going to just take this and just look. I'm literally just making little marks. This is while you're talking to somebody on the phone. I doodle these things. Yeah, I'm on the phone. Here's what I do. Let me show you what I do. Take a piece of tape like this. Music just a little hot, maybe. I don't know. It is in here. There we go. I feel like I'm talking louder and I don't need to because I can't hear. All right, so by the way, remember this. I take tape off. Little things that you should remember. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. It's bothering me. So I'm going to go a little farther up on the desk, just like that right there. Okay. I take a piece of tape like this, and I'll put it on my shirt, like right here. Right there, see that? I just taped it on my shirt, or I'll reach down and put it on my jeans if I'm wearing jeans. And I'll just get a little bit of, lint on it. But in this case, if I were just doodling on the phone today and somebody was here and I was trying to take notes too, I'd tape this down just with one piece of tape so I could move it like that. And I might even tape it so it's comfortable to my hand, which would probably be like this. And then I would just start to do some squiggling here like this, just little squiggles. I'm not worrying if they're uniform. I'm not worrying, closer, but then I'm probably going to just take some of this and let it just sort of swirl out like this. And those are just the tail feathers on the back of this fly. All right. What kind of fly? Doesn't matter. If you want to look at pictures online, you can. If you want to get a fly fishing magazine, if you have some that's on the wall or your husband tied or you tied. So get rid of this piece of tape. Just put it over there in case I need it. But the reason I put that piece of tape on there is that if I'm on the phone or if my phone's not on the speaker and I wanted the other hand, I can do that. In most cases, on a small piece of paper, I never tape it down so I can turn it because I like turning it like this to get these little lines in that I like. I like pulling my brush this way or pulling my pen in this direction. And so I'm starting to put some other ones on there, and I'll put a few out there, short ones like this, and a few more like this. And then I may put some that start to fold back a little bit like this. And then right in here, I might just put a couple little loose threads that sort of ran away with the train. Ran away to join the circus. And so that's where I kind of come in. So you see it start to come together. Now, this is one of the most fun things that I've learned to do yet. And I'm going to show you how to do it. And I'm going to do it with a Kakuno fountain pen. Watch this. I'm going to do these little chevrons. I'm going to show you how to do one on my drawing board here before I do it. Look at this. I'm going to take, you know what a chevron is? It's a little thing that looks like this. It's kind of covered in like, are you serious? Did this just run out of ink? Right in the middle of live TV. Yep, just flat out ran out right there. Okay, so we'll solve that by reaching over here and grabbing another one. Boop, right here somewhere. There it is, right there. Sliding it in, boom. Okay, so came through in a pinch. I guess I should have been at the doctor's office. Scalpel. Oh, look at that thing right now. Okay, there we go. Come on, clean up your act a little bit. There it comes. All right. So here we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little chevrons, and you see I'm just going to build up these little, let's just call them V's for now. And why is my pen doing this to me? Could be because I've been working at the table with it downstairs. And all right, so here we go. So these little chevrons are going in just like this. See that? And they get smaller as they go up higher. Okay, so you see me do this before. Some of you have. You go, how does he put those little feathers on there? It's a trick. It's a magic trick. Watch this. Here I go. I'm going to come in right here, and I'm going to do my first little chevron. And he's going to be a pretty bold one. And then the next one is going to be a little higher. He's going to be less bold. Think about a pond, and a smooth pond. You throw a rock in it, and the splash comes up, and then it goes down, and then it comes up, and then it goes down, and it comes up, it goes down, and as it goes out, they get a little thinner. Did you see what I just did there? I just did those little chevrons going like that. Why? Well, because feather hairs come down like this. How do I know? Because I opened up my box and I look at feathers. I'm going to put a second one on here, just like this, and it's going to come up and bend a little bit. So here I'm going to start it right here. It's a little shorter this time, but I'm going to turn it some. There's my little V going in like this, and coming in, coming in, coming in, coming in, coming in. And there's two right there. And then I'm going to show you something else in just a second. But right now, I'm taking my fountain pen and I'm going over the middle part of this first hair that I put on with this pen. So you see what I'm doing? I'm building up layers. And this is not the way that somebody in art school would probably teach you how to tie fish or how to paint fish and flies. I don't know. I've never had art school. So my point is, this is how I've learned to do them, and it's been a fun way for me to sort of figure out how to put this together. All right, so here's what happens. So I like a little more of these, just letting my pen just dance a little bit across. There we go. Now this is going to be a black and white fly with just a touch of color. I'm going to grab a little bit of paint. And we'll grab a little bit of water and just give it wake up colors. Just kind of yell at them, give them a little spray like that right there. That's cool. And so I'm going to reach in and I'm going to grab a small brush. And I'm going to grab, in fact, I'm going to grab that number 5 or number 6. And I'm going to dampen it with a little water. Not too much water, so I can't shake the water out of it. I've tapped it off over here. Hear that? Okay, so I damped it in. And then I'm just going here and I'm just going to add a little water on top of this to tie that ink together, the ink from the 2 pens. I just want this to bolster up a little bit, give it a little bit. Plus, it's also going to give it a little pen bleed, which has a little bit of maybe Prussian blue or Payne's gray or maybe even some violet in there, sometimes in that ink, depending on what kind of ink you use in your pens, okay? I'm also going to just touch this hook and darken it a little bit. I've done that with brown before, just to give you an idea of kind of what I'm doing here. Now, this is kind of a fun thing right here. I'm going to grab a little bit of, I want a little bit of color in this just because it's my fly and I can do it any color I want, but I do want to brush something here. So I'm going to go in, get a little gamboge, just a little bit of yellow on this bigger brush, and I'm going to come in. I'm not pressing down hard. I'm literally letting this be a light touch. Look, hard for these clubs I'm holding here to be light, but here we go. So I'm swinging that in, look at that, and I'm swinging another one down like that. Literally just a light brush of yellow going back off the tail end of that. Can you see that? All right, let's see if I can get a new scene here that just comes up this way. Boom. Why are you doing this to me? Any reason you're frustrated? That is too weird. Sorry what my machine's gone kaput this morning here for some reason. I'm looking. Wait a minute. Hang on. Here's the fly. Here's me. Weird. But I got me in a square box up there, which is not rare. Okay, now I go to a round box. Finally, it let me come back in there. Jason, I thought I was going to have to call you. It wasn't going to let me come back in. All right, so take a look here. Now, while that's still wet, I killed some time there to let that dry because I was struggling with something. Watch what I do again. I'm going to come back and grab I'm going to grab my fountain pen, and while this paint is still just a little moist, I'm going to go in and just touch it like this with the end of my ink. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm just touching it. And what's happening is that ink is kind of spreading out into there, and it gives me a little feather look in this. If you can see this closer, you would see that that's a little bit. Isn't that cool? All right. Did you keep your creative brain from saying I need to paint a fly with exact detail? No. I did I say that on purpose? I didn't mean to if I said exact detail because that's all right. So watch this. Now I'm going to grab just a touch of maybe some French gray, okay, on this number 1 rigger brush. This is just a nylon brush. It's still going to run you about 17 or 18 bucks, but I use it very sparingly. This brush will last me years and years. And then I'm going to go in here, just a little damp brush with a little bit of French gray on it, not too much, and I'm going to just slide it up through here like this. And not to cover that, but just put a little bit of connection between these chevrons right here, just with a little gray. In fact, if I wanted to take a little bit of yellow on that, I could just touch a little bit of yellow in there, in that too. Look at that. And so then I think what I want to do is now I'm going to really jump out. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to get a little bit of red. I'm just going to put a red eye on this and just put a red head on it right there. And you're going, now you're ruining the fly for most fishermen. They're going like, there's no such fly as the red-headed, shoehorned Ansel Adams, what's his name? Adams fly house cat. And I'm going like, I really could care less. Okay, so here's where I'm just going to put a little bit of green racing stripe down the side. And then I'm going to grab a bigger brush, maybe go back to my number 6 and grab a little bit of extra soupy little brush. There's one right there. Just put a little spot down there to see what it would look like. Okay, I'll take it. And I'm going to put a little in there. And then I'm just going to come in and with a pencil. Here's one. And I'm just going to grab and just do some blue splashing around the page like this. And I might even come in and just come up under this tape. I'll show you. Remember, I put some tape on this. And throw some water on there like this. And you know where I'm headed with this, right? The same way I was headed the other day with my dragonflies. Come into this corner right here. Just grab a drinking straw, one of these, and just blow some up on it like that. Boom, boom, boom. You see that? I almost had it out of the rack because I'm doing too many things at once this morning. And so theoretically, what would happen now is that if I came in with this and grabbed a little bit of blue here in this corner, and then in this corner, leave that corner open maybe, come in here, do a little bit of splash, do a touch of green gold. Ooh, I love that. Just where the pond water is a little more, maybe a little bit of French gray, and just splash some of that in there. And I think what I'm going to have to do, because this is a fly that looks like he's working, I'm going to grab a little bit of thread right here and tie it on, and then I'm just going to push this off to the side like that. Now let's pull this tape off, which if I put the lint on my shirt, remember that, takes the sticky adhesive off, it shouldn't rip the paper. It should come off clean like it does on that side. It's always a guess, but there it is. And so now I have this little painting that has its own little border around it, and it kind of looks pretty cool. Throw these in the trash can, almost hit it. Don't care for this little thing right there, so what I would do there is go into my scissor box and just grab my scissors here. I know they look like a pocket knife, but it's a scissors. You have to say that when you're online. I'm just kidding. All right, so there we go. So there's my little painting this morning from a fly. Okay, it's high time. Roodoodles. And an M for Michael and 23. So there's a nice little fish fly. I'm going to do one more real quickly now without so much talking through it. I'm going to pull out on this so you can see what I'm doing a little more. Move this up a little closer like so you can see some of my tools. And let's do a larger one. So I hope that helps you see how simple this really is if you do it over and over and over and over and over. Okay, don't be frustrated if you don't get it right the first time. Is this one too long? Is it too short? It doesn't matter. It also doesn't matter to the people who give them as gifts to say, well, I'm afraid that, no, if you apologize for the art that you give somebody, don't give it to them. Man, is he in a bad mood today? No. It's just like, I'm sorry, this probably doesn't look like one of the flies that you tie. And you're like, if there's a fly tying artist that paints flies, let him paint accurately in detail as he wants. Otherwise, just paint things that you have fun with. Okay? Could I add another feather down here below this one? Yeah, I might on the next one. Or I might even paint the next one completely different. I'm going to set this one aside and let it dry. And hopefully I'll remember to show it to you by the end of the show. We'll see what happens. Let's change paper. Let's get those scissors back out here. Any more questions? I'll answer them if you go to QQQ on them. Hey, Roo, could I commission you to create me Step Away from the Easel? I missed one dear Lily's auction. Annette, the thing about commissions is I normally don't do them, but when it's a painting that I love and it's one of my originals that I don't have to change much on, you bet I'd help do that. Would you send me an email at roodoodles@gmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to help you. I still paint that painting because it's one of my favorite paintings, and it's a painting that I have to remind myself of daily, is that would you just put the brush down and back away from the easel? I just feel like there's a need for that in our world today where everybody goes, oh, it was good until I messed it up. And you go like, well, put the brush down. And so you send me an email for that. How do you keep your creative brain from saying I need to fly with exact detail? Jason, I think I read that question wrong, so here it is. Music and art are based on style and limitation. John Hartford, I think, said music is based on limitation, repetition, limitation. Plus, if I wanted a flower that looked just like the flower that I showed you this morning on that video, I should just shoot a picture of it because I'm never going to be happy with how I do it. And so here's what you get a lot. If you're in this ballpark, hear it in your own way. Don't hear it as a criticism. Don't hear it as a professional critique. Hear it as a friend saying, here's how I steered through that. Do you remember my story in Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle? That's the 5th mention of it. Maybe the 6th. Here's the thing. I said a lady at a gallery one night said, oh, what do you do? And I said, I paint roosters. And she said, what else do you paint? And I said, just roosters. She said, how boring. Now, of course, I branch out and I paint a few other little things. She just saw me paint a fly. She said, well, that's so boring. And I said, well, then what do you paint? She said, nothing. And I said, no, let's talk about boring. And so I just brought it back to her. And she was like, oh, almost like you offended me. And I'm going like, no, you started this. Do you want to have a conversation? And she said, well, I only buy fine art. It was a great line. It was a great line from her. But I think I'm going like 2 up and 1 over. The knight is about to take out the rook. Rookie. I said, oh, then you have to buy one of mine because it's fine with me. And so that's the story that really happened. And I just really said it. And it offended her to the point where she turned around and left. But she came back later and said, I want to buy that painting. And I said, there's this old saying in the South that says a day late and about $100 short. And that's what happened here. That lady just bought it. And she said, oh, no, I wanted it. And I said, well, you didn't act like you wanted it. You didn't tell me you wanted it. And you left the conversation because she said, I know what I said, but people love your art. And I said, people do. What about you? And so that's the part I didn't write in the story that you're hearing the other parts of this conversation. I wound up painting that for her later. And I said, now it's only going to be twice what it was. I didn't do that. Okay. I said, here's what it sold for. So the point is this, is that I learned that I could never be happy with being a realist art as good as life, as good as photo artist. I'm not gifted that way. I have a lot of crafts art. I don't have craft skills, but I do. I'm a maker. I have a lot of musical skills and storytelling skills. I just have skills that I had to do for survival. They weren't that I set out to impress people. It was just I set out to say, can I use my giftedness as an artist, thinking like one, to make a living? I hope so. It won't be a great living, but I'm not a starving artist. In fact, Carol and I eat out often on the proceeds. When I'm not buying art supplies, we have dinner out on what I sell my art for. It works for us. And I share it with people, and I take people to dinner, and our grandkids get, we send them to camp sometime on this money, seriously. And so it's a blessing to do that. So don't have the attitude that you're not good enough. Have the attitude that you like what you're putting out there. And if I can beat that drum on this show, I can certainly beat that drum harder and stiffer on the Patreon show. And that's what I say to you people who are signing up and saying, I need somebody to push me and say, how do I sell my art? Some of the classes that we're talking about, I'm going to do 2 classes, and Patreon people will talk about how you get into those classes without any more expense to you. People who come in, and I'm going to do 2 summer classes. I'm going to do a class that's probably is 2 hours in the morning, an hour after lunch, and 2 hours in the evening. A 5-hour class on one day. I'm going to do 2 of those, and they are going to cover simple painting. They're going to cover supplies. They're going to cover space. They're going to cover, do you want to make a difference with your art? They're going to cover connecting to people. They're going to cover Facebook or social media, how to do reels, how to sell yourself. If I don't know you, I may not be inclined to pick up your art. Well, I don't even know you're out there. So how do you step out and do that? But you got to make sure your art is adaptable and connects with people. So there's some other things too. Some of you, you know who you are when you're really good. You just feel a little gun shy about, and then you feel a little apologetic by saying, yeah, I'm kind of a starving artist, like, no, you're not. If you're painting, you're a blessed artist. If you have supplies and you're painting, you're blessed. All right, another fish and fly. I went off on a tangent. Doesn't take me long, does it? Heck no. Okay. But don't apologize for the art that you give away. Here's the thing. Don't go, yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I'd have used a different color blue here. If you felt like that before you gave it away, don't give it away. Go use extra blue. I give it to people. Sometimes I'll hand people a little painting like this right here. Here's one that I just did, almost like the one that I did here. Look, here's the one that's dry and I just did. Here's another one. Look. Is this a great fly? No, but it's kind of cool. I love the fact that it looks like it's sort of a leaf green, and I laid it out there, and I'm going to do another one. So sometimes I'll find a little piece of art in my stack over here, and I'll put it in my pocket. Look, my doctor last week came in and said, I figured I'd find you doodling. And I said, yeah, I got to be, man. I got to, I'm never bored. I'm never, and I just doodled a little, what is this? A lobster like this with my preppy pen and a little water brush. That's all that is, the bleed. And he said, that's really good. And I said, good, it's for you. And he called me this week and said, hey, we want to talk to you about putting some art in our house. And I said, I'd love to talk about that. And my point is that I didn't feel bad about giving him the little sketch because I felt like it represented my style and who I am. So instead of me giving a sketch like this, it says, well, I'm going to give you this, but I wish I'd used a little more orange because I really felt like the orange got a little light here. And I'm going like, seriously? Hey, don't do that. Be confident in who you are. If you don't like your art, then 20 minutes a day for the next 6 months, concentrate on one thing that you want to change. I use too much water. I use too much color. I use too much this. I use too much Clorox. I use too much salt. I'm always looking. Stop looking for the next thing that's going to help you and just get some simple brushes and plow in and go, hey, I use too much ink on this. I use too much paint on that. Quit doing that. I'm not going to add paint to that. Nope, that's it. You're looking at the lobster the way that it needs to fly, and someday this will go somewhere. I'll throw it in an auction. I'll throw these 2. I'll put another big one with them and go, I love this. Every time I look at it, I still think of the YMCA. Hey, we're trapped. All right. I'm so ADD, it's not even funny. Fast brain. Here we go. Here is the different pen. This is the Preppy fountain pen. I'm going to start it one more time. I got to be doodling. Yes, please start doodling. 20 minutes every day, people. I paint what I love and give it away. Chris Whitaker, your art has changed over the last 3 years. Yes, it has. Your style, your talent, your skill, and people will be so blessed to have a piece of your art. I'm just telling you, that's the way it works. All I can name 10, 12, 20 people on this show who have that ability. So those of you who feel like you're dragging behind and you compare your work to theirs, don't. Steer your work, adapt your work, and realize, whoa, I'm gifted for this. Jason, you don't need to paint bees, my friend. Stay with architecture because it's in your cotton picking blood. It's what you see. You see lines, and you see trellises, and you see I-beams and features and bolt heads and rivets. You see bridges. You see what I'm saying? Do you see that? Denise, you see caricature and almost illustrated book quality cartoons. Cindy, you see faces and portraits and noses and eyes. That painting that you did yesterday or 2 days ago, the old man, I don't know who he was. I don't know if he set for you, if you just found the photo. But I'm telling you, when you have the ability to capture that and it connects to people, I just want you to be loose to adapt it. Adapt your art, okay? I paint things that I love. I love fishing flies. Maybe in all honesty, I really want to be fishing today. Well, after I do this, I love this. Okay, so here we go. All right, so here's a little painting for you here. Just take a look at this. Haven't painted this in a long time. I felt like I probably should. Just let it kind of roll down like this. I'm just going to build up this just a little bit and come down here. Come down here. This is going to come in just a little bit more like so. Come down here. Oh, this is a fly fishing painting also. Haven't done one of these in a long time. So just wanted you to know where I was going there. Now, the fly reel that I paint is, let's see, is there one laying here somewhere? Sometimes there is one laying here. Well, I had one earlier today. The fly reel that I paint mostly is my fly reel. Sometimes I'll paint a solid one with just little holes in it. Rats, I lose stuff, just flat out lose stuff up here. This table is not that big, so I'm not sure what I did with it, but I'll show you one anyway. Stay with me for a second. This is my fly rod here. Okay, so it's a White River Classic. There it is. See all these little holes with the line in it like this, and see how the back butts out right here. I made this little bamboo carrier that my 4-piece rod folds up in. It's got a piece of leather riveted on it here. It all comes apart, slides in. So there is the tail end of my fly rod right there. There's triple fork outfitters. It's a 5-weight 8.6 rod 4-piece. It's all in there. All 4 pieces are in there. You can see them fall out. I just put them in here like this, and I slip this one in like so. I wrap this around the holder and I slip it through. And then what I wind up with is this cool little thing that I put a handle on, and it fits behind my back seat of my car, and I can carry it wherever I want. So I just, so I'm a maker. That's what I want to be. This to me was as important as catching a fish. Come on. How fun is that? So there's the fly rod. And by the way, if you notice there's green in that, I like a green or a yellow line, a fly line. And so most of my reels have that color to them. So you see, that's where I go from the reel to the create the piece later. All right. So give you an idea of what I do. I'm gonna do something that you've hardly ever seen me do. I'm gonna grab a pin here. That's a permanent pin and not a bleeding pin, and I'm gonna put some circles on this fly rod just like this. Look at this. I'm just putting these little circles on here just like so. All right, let's go in a little closer so you can see what I just did right there. And then I'm just going to come in with a little lock piece, but I'm going to put a center pin right there, a little lock piece down here, maybe a lock here. And then I've got this part of the reel that comes in right there, ties in. This is the handle back here. It's got some lines in it. This is where the rod goes out. I'm going to bring it up, come down like this. I'm just taking it up here, tooling it around like this and bringing it down. And one of those is going to have to be the line and the other is going to have to be the rod. But I think you get an idea of where this is going. And then I'll just paint it real quickly here in the time that I have left. I think for me, flies, the old woozy flies my mom called them, that old woozy fly, he's going to have just a little bit of a blue back and a green head just because I want him to be sort of bright. Notice that I just took a paper towel and that was too much paint. And I just wiped some of it off and it worked pretty well actually. House flies have a little bit of a black blue color to them, so I'm going to let this just come in. I'm going to let this be his body. This is the bleeding of the pen. I am going to grab a little bit of French gray and put it up here in the wing, and just touch it like I do my bee wings with my finger, sort of like that. And I've got this little bit of a fly. Now watch, I'm going to use this green right in here. Okay, you ready? So I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to go like this. Now I could put it on the outside, but in this case, for a small reel like this, I think I'm just going to just paint it on the inside like so. And then I'll probably let some of this line out here that had the pen, the fountain pen, just fade in sort of black. And then I'm going to darken this with just a little bit of orange right in the center of it, just like that. That really gives me just a little kind of a fun looking flat splash. I'm going to grab a little bit of maybe tan, just a light little tan, and go right in here where that piece of cork is. This is going to be black just right here, and this knob is going to be black. And I'm lightly touching this because I'd rather it be Payne's Gray black than just regular black. I'm going to grab some yellow, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some what we call yellow gold or gold yellow, or I don't know what it's called anyway. I'm going to put it in here, and I'm just going to let my rod be that color because it really is kind of an awkward color that you wouldn't see in nature. I think my rod is more of a blackish version of this. I just looked at it. Yes, it is. But I kind of like this little look right here that's going to come down, and then we'll bring it in like that. Okay, so a little more green in the eye just for fun. There it is. And then a little more black on my brush. And I'm using lamp black here from, I'm using lamp black. And we'll put some little lines in here. I could also come in and put some little lines in with this, just in his wings. Here's where I come in with a pen. Maybe this one. In just a second when this dries just a little bit. And let me come out so you can see this just a little bit right there. So this is a fly fishing. He needs some extra legs. What do you think? I think I left his leg cut off here, so I'm going to bring this one down and put it out. And then he's got one. How many legs do flies have? I think they have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so we'll let this one come down here and kind of broke off. And then one still coming out there. There we go. And I'm going to put a little bit of more detail right in here. And then I'm going to come in and I'm putting some little dots right in here because of the way the eyeball's made. And so now I have, by the way, I'm going to put some here too, because that's the way cork looks, right? And a little ferrule band right there, a little tie on this where it's tied in, and there. Now I got to take, let's take a watercolor pencil and let's put some yellow. I'm using a watercolor pencil because it'd just be easier to do this. So here we go. Watch this. I'm just going to sharpen a watercolor pencil here just a little bit with my scissor pencil sharpener. I just want this to be a fine little crayon swoosh. So watch this. I'm going to grab it right here, and I'm going to take a piece and go down. I'm going to come out like this, and then I'm going to take it. But before I do that, no, I'm going to take it right in here. I'm going to take it right up, go along here, and come down. And then I'm going to swirl it around like that, and maybe back over to here. And so now I have this cool little thing where I'm going to put some eyelets on my rod. Notice I put the string on before I put the eyelets on. Why is that? Now I can put the eyelets wherever I want to put them. And then right here, I'm going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to put, I've done this before. I'm going to do it right now. So, what, 5 minutes? Give me a second. Got an idea. This is what a working studio looks like right here. I love this. When you just go after your fly box. There it is right there. There's a fly box. And here's my Orvis fly box. Let's see what's in this rascal. It should have some good stuff in it. Oh, I emptied it. Oh, I know what I did with it. I put them in the other box, the other holder. All right, we'll take one out of here. So let's take this little fly right here. He is just too cool. Okay, look at that guy. You see him right there? Okay, so watch this. I'm going to rip this off. I'm going to trim this with my... Man, I keep putting my scissors back in my pocket. All right, this is making art in front of you. This is how my brain operates some days when I'm up here. Okay, so there's that. I want to come back in and do what I did earlier. I want to put a little bit of sky in here, just like this. A little bit of blue. A little bit of this. I want a little bit of purple. I just love purple in this. And I think this guy needs a little bit of purple in him too, just to reflect the sky up in the wings there. I want to put some here. I want to touch some of that just like that. I want some more down here in this. I want just a little middle of, this blue is what I call ultramarine blue. It's not what I call it. It's what it's called in real life. Somewhere. It's all this is American Journey colors. All right, so maybe just a little bit of splatter like so. And then watch this. I'm going to come in with this, here it is right here. Okay, here's my little fly. See him? There he is right there. That's the real fly. This is a real little tide fly. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put that tide fly right here like this. I'm just going to punch a hole in the paper and hook the fly right into the paper. And then, and then whoever gets this one, it's got a real fishing fly in it, and it's there. Boom! It'll just kind of get squeezed down into the frame. All right, kind of fun. So, it's mixed media day. All right. I think you get the idea of what I do when I play, and I just wanted you to see the process. If I had sat here without explaining to you what I was doing, I could have made probably 10, 15 flies this morning and just had some real fun with them. But I chose to just kind of teach with what is kind of what I do. And so now I have this little fly fisher painting. Hey, do you ever paint fly fishing? Yeah, there's fly fishing. And kind of like it. So there it is right there. Let's call it, I'm not going to name it, but I'm just going to sign it. And I'm going to sign it right here. I think I'm going to sign it just right here. Roodoodles.com, Michael 23. And so I think everybody's going to look at it and go, oh, that's fly fishing. Yeah, that's what that is. Okay, I'm going to come back in. I'm going to clean up these circles just a little bit now that this is dried. Give you a little idea of how I do that, and then come in here with a little break look. And then now I'm coming back, and to make sure that I don't look like I'm trying to make it too slick, I'm actually dirtying this up just a little bit because I like the fact that sometimes my rods and my reels and stuff like that have some life scratches on them. We call that, when I work with Buffalo Jackson, which is a retailer that makes leather bags and stuff, I work with them creating ideas and some videos, and we call this journey wear. And I really like the concept that this is sort of journey wear. And I am going to go back and darken this green in this rod. I feel like it needs to be a little greener because of the fade that I put in there earlier, and the line is yellow. So because the line's yellow, I'm going in to make this a little greener. So there it is right there. And then I'm going to put just a couple little scratch marks on this. Just some dots so it looks like that. And I'm going to create a little more line coming out of here just like that, because who hasn't seen a good tangled up fly rod? There, that's a little better. All right, a close up, give you a little idea of what it looks like close up. There it is right there with the real fly hanging in there. And I don't even think it needs to be framed in a shadow box. I think this is flat enough to just press in behind a piece of glass. This is just a nice little piece, and people will look at it and go, "Oh my gosh, it's a real fishing fly." And for me, I think that works. It's just one of those silly things that I do that makes me laugh at life. And why did I think of this years ago when I did it? I don't know. I don't know that anybody else. Somebody else probably had. I had not, and yet it's a pun, and my boys love puns, and I love puns, and so that's kind of how we got there. So I'm just going to make that fly a little looser, a little rougher, just some little pile on him like honeybees. And I'm going to touch one more little piece, put the brush down in the last minute. I'm going to touch one more little piece of blue right there because I feel like he needs this extra blue and a little piece of purple in his body right there on the tail. Yeah, and I'm think the green is fading on me a little bit, so I'm going to come in and grab that and see if I can get a little bit of lighter green in that eye socket. Right. That's better. Now, when that dries, I'm going to put some more dots in there. All right. So, okay, that's about it. There's a couple fishing flies. Here's the first one I did this morning. Well, yeah, I did this one yesterday or a couple of days ago, but there's the one I showed you how to do. Look, these things here that look like they are tadpoles got in the way, that's just where I blew it with the straw. So what? Just let it go. I love it. I love it's just splash, a splatter. And so it's high time. I didn't have to name it. I didn't worry about if people are going to say, that's not a real fly. And you go like, seriously? It's not? No, it's a watercolor painting. So that gives you an idea of how I do that. Now, I'll put these back before I wind up with a hook in my hand this morning. Okay, and look at the size of this. Can you imagine throwing that into a stream and catching a fish? Yeah, I can imagine that. Sounds fun. All right, put my scissors up for the last time this morning, and I'll probably sit here, knock out a couple more fishing flies this morning, and I hope you do something creative today. Thank you for being on the show. If you have some questions, I'll go back through these a little bit later. Welcome to the party. Would that be a cannibal fly fishing? Journey wear, isn't that a great thing? Yeah, that's what we call it when people will bring a new leather bag in sometimes. They'll go, I bought this bag and it was brand new and I scratched it. And I wondered if you could get the scratch out. And you go like, seriously? Where'd you scratch it? Well, I was in Rome. Oh my gosh, seriously? Take my bag to Rome next time because I don't have money to go there, and scratch mine for me. I'll say, this scratch came from Rome. Call it journey wear, people, on your journals and your brushes and your papers and my art. And, life is lived and you get bruises and bumps. You just do. Art should be real to you. It should be fun. It should be exciting. And so make a difference with it. You can. You can. Have a cup of tea. Go ahead and have a cup on me today. I'm drinking Builder's tea. Paint a fishing flower too. Have some fun. Learn to do those little chevrons and go look at some pictures, but don't press yourself into thinking, oh my gosh, it's not perfect. Neither is anybody. I think I'll call my scars journey wear. You bet they are. That's exactly what they are. All right, blessings to all of you. I have a gazillion flies. I've killed a gazillion flies this week. I have a bug assault. It's a gun that shoots salt that I shoot flies with when they come in. Have you ever painted a bumblebee fishing fly? No, because that'd be a bumblebee fishing fly. No, but that's pretty funny though. Hey honey, I'm bringing home the fish. Except bumblebees really they make their own honey to eat, but not that. All right, so Mike Paramore, thanks, buddy. All right. I'm out of here like a herd of turtles. Let me see if I can find my harmonica. Y'all be blessed. Hey, stay behind the mule. You know what that means. Put your hands to the plow. Paint something.